You now know where to collect data. But what does that data look like? In this video, we'll talk about the different types of data. You might wonder why it's important to know what type of data you have collected. This will be essential later on in the data science process. For instance, it's especially relevant when you want to store the data, which we'll talk about in the next video, as not all types of data can be stored in the same place. Furthermore, when you're visualizing or analyzing the data, it's important to know the type of data you're dealing with. Not all visualizations or analyses can be performed with all data types. So, let's dive in. There are two general types of data: qualitative and quantitative data. It's important to understand the key differences between both. Quantitative data can be counted, measured, and expressed using numbers. Qualitative data is descriptive and conceptual. Qualitative data can be observed, but not measured. Now that we know the differences, let's dive into each type of data with a real-world example. Quantitative data can be expressed in numbers. For example, the fridge is 60 inches tall, has 2 apples in it, and costs $1,000. Qualitative data, on the other hand, are things that can be observed but not measured, like the fridge is red, was built in Italy, and might need to be cleaned out because it smells like fish. Other than the traditional quantitative and qualitative data, there are many other data types that are becoming more and more important. There is image data, text data, geospatial data, network data, and many more. Note that these other data types aren't mutually exclusive with quantitative and qualitative data, meaning often these other data types are a special mix of quantitative and qualitative data. Let's look at some examples. Digital images are everywhere. An image is made up of pixels. Those pixels contain information about color and intensity. Pixels are stored in computer memory. In the example, you can see that if we zoom in on the image, we can distinguish the different pixels. Emails, documents, reviews, social media posts, and so on. As you can imagine, text data can be found in many places. This data can be stored and analyzed to find relevant insights. On the slide, you can see an example of a restaurant review. Geospatial data are data with location information. In the example, you can see that many different types of information can be captured using geospatial data. For a specific region, we can keep track of where the roads, the buildings, and vegetation are. This is especially useful for navigation apps like Waze and Google Maps. Network data consists of the people or things in a network, depicted by circles on a slide, and the relationships between them, depicted by lines on a slide. Here you can see an example of a social network. You can easily see who knows whom. In this video, we looked at the most common data types: quantitative data, qualitative data, image data, text data, geospatial data, and network data. These can all serve as inputs for your data science analysis. But before doing that, the data needs to be stored, and that's what we'll cover in the next video. But first, let's see if you know the difference between the different types of data. Let's practice.